Welcome to another episode of Agency Life. And on today's show, we have Imogen Allen and a few chickens apparently in the background. How are you, Imogen?
I'm very good. Morning. Welcome. Yes, I'm very good. Yes, we do have a few chickens around. The door is open because it's so hot. And yes, this is me, Imogen Allen.
Imogen Allen. And just if you weren't aware, she lives out in the sticks with a few chickens and a family as well. And you'll need to listen to her full episode, of which we will link in the show notes, when Imogen joined us a few months ago. And that was a cool episode. I enjoyed it.
It was fun. It was fun. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, without further ado or any spoilers, shall we dive right in?
Let's do
this. All right. So, Imogen, tell us the name of your agency and what it is you do.
Okay. My agency is called Umbrella Digital Media, and I help small businesses with tech overwhelm, basically, but with a nice new niche of being an online technical partner for online course creators.
Oh.
So this is quite a new development, although I've been working with people for quite a few people getting their online courses, and so that's developed into a service niche rather than a client type niche.
I like it.
Yeah. So I'm really looking forward to getting together some really good content and getting that out there and sharing lots of good advice.
Well, that's good. Well, if we were going to get a birthday cake and some party hats and party poppers and have a bit of a party, when is your agency's birthday party?
Okay, well, this is the second morph of my agency. So as I am now, I'm just over a year old, May 2017.
Woo!
And woohoo! And I started this very, very amazing journey back in December 2015. But with a huge
Don't forget to listen to that whole podcast. We will make sure we link to it in the show notes because it's a great one. Absolutely. All right, let's go into your setup then. You are a new agency, very similar to Kyle. He's quite a new agency as well. So what's the team setup at the moment?
The team setup is just like Kyle, it's me.
Yeah.
And I have been reaching out to different people and learning from them about services and things that they offer, and always in the back of my mind, perhaps how I might be able to work with them in the future. So
you're at that point of developing partnerships with people? Yes,
because I want to be able to add on services to clients, and there's definitely areas I don't particularly want to explore, and I'd rather have an expert come in and work with them.
Yeah. Before we go on the next question, I would just echo that how important it is to not do things that you don't like or not good at. And I think I shared with everyone, didn't I, inside of the Agency Trailblazer community, of how I was trying to develop apps until 3 a.m. in the morning for ridiculous low prices, and I was crying. It's really not worth it. So I agree with you wholeheartedly. So if you're interested in a partnership with Imogen, there'll be details at the end of the show on how to connect. Right. Office-wise, we've already learned that a few of your co-workers are chickens. So could you just describe your office setup for us, and also if you work elsewhere at times as well?
Okay, I solely work at home.
Okay.
I have a dedicated area in the house where I work. It's actually an old porchway, which is great. And so I have that space. I don't have a physical door, which is something that I would like to have, so that I can have that leaving work away, that physical barrier. So just me. I don't do co-working space because part of the reason I set up was to be around at home and available for family and stuff. So and I absolutely love it, but I do get out virtually a lot and also do kind of live networking as well. So very conscious of keeping that balance. Yeah.
Now, as you're growing your partnerships, your contractors, and potentially your virtual team as well, what sort of culture are you looking to establish?
I think for me, I want people that are like-minded. I think you have to. It's a bit like with clients as well. It's really important to work with people that share your core values and what you believe in and how you think things should roll out. And also that I think when you work for yourself, it is different because you have a passion, and that's why it's sometimes hard to switch off.
Yeah.
Whereas perhaps if you're working for somebody else in a kind of regular 9-to-5 type of role, it's ultimately, yes, you want to do a good job, but it's not your business. So there is a slightly different feel to that. And I think you do get that naturally with other freelancers because they're doing it for the same reasons that you are. So definitely like-mindedness and being good communicators and just talking things through. Communication's key because people start assuming things if you don't have those discussions and conversations, and make sure everyone's okay and on the same page.
Yeah. Communication, transparency. I like it. And the fact that you are looking to partner with people, and we do the same. We've partnered with quite a few people in the past because they are business owners, be they freelancers or be they other agencies. We've all got skin in the game, as it were. This is our business. We have to pay our bills. Whereas when you do have a team, we have 15 employees at one point in our other agency that I was a part of. Many of those people are just turning up, waiting for their lunch break to happen, and then waiting for the end of the day, and all saying TGI Friday on their social media on Friday. So it's like, oh, really? I'm gonna stay here until midnight.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and you can't expect when people are employed on that basis, you can't install the fire, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about your mission. You gave some of your niche away, which is fascinating. It sounds like a new niche. So the question is normally, do you work in a particular industry or niche? I'm going to rephrase the question because you've said it's all around online courses. Could you just tell us how you've started to pivot in that direction?
Yeah, it's been a bit of a journey to be honest, as it always is, and probably it's taken about 8 months to get to this point.
Yeah.
And sometimes, the question is, do you niche or not? And I think that the answer is personal, to be honest. But I really wanted to hone in on something because I think it's easy to deliver a message.
Yeah.
And especially when you're doing content and so on, it's kind of, if it's too wide, it's too hard. So I was looking at people that I help, what kinds of people are they? And although there is a common thread with who they are, predominantly women over 40, all in helpful industries, helping other people. And what kept coming back to me is that they are all trying to get their teaching online. One of the things I love to do is to learn. So and love to help people. So it kind of all started to come into this part. It was really a trickle and it took forever. There was a bit of a eureka moment at one point thinking this has got to be it. So I'm looking to help people, help other people and reach more people with whatever they're teaching. Yeah. There's a lot to explore in that kind of teaching element, and I don't really necessarily want to go after a niche of
an industry. So like you said earlier, it's a productized niche. You've found something that you can help people, and within that, like you said, you're exploring it. There are tons of different avenues within it as well, isn't there? There's the course, there are courses, there's memberships, there's so much to unpack from that. So if you could think of kind of what of this niche, of the people that you're dealing with, we'll say productized niche, what do you think the biggest problem is that you solve for people?
Overwhelm. Undoubtedly overwhelm. They are really good at what they do. They really know their stuff. They really know what they want to teach other people to be able to do. But they look at how to try and solve how they're going to deliver that, and they just get stuck. They get really stuck. And when you say, well, do you know what, I can just take it all away from you, and the relief, the overwhelm becomes relief. Yeah. And they just feel really happy that they can just carry on and do what they're doing, and all of a sudden they haven't got this burden. But that's a continual thread that I think the people that I've worked with since I've been doing this, they just feel the relief. So that's kind of the problem I solve, is the overwhelm, turning that into relief, and then they can get on and do other stuff. You know what it's like yourself, if you've got something that you're really not very good at doing, you don't like doing it, and you don't really know what to do, it just stops you. You get analysis paralysis, don't you?
Absolutely.
So that's what I like to solve for people.
It's funny as well, because I find a lot of people who do teach also feel that they should be trying to do all of this themselves as well, putting together the membership site. So you are there saying, I'm going to take all of that off your plate. Do what you do best and let me do what I do best. Absolutely.
Exactly, yeah. And there's other things that the content they will have, but they also need to be aware of other things and how it's delivered, and even straightforward stuff like, videos with captions, and so it's accessible. But those kinds of issues that they wouldn't necessarily know about. So they just need to create brilliant content, and I can wrap it up for them.
Awesome. Well, let's talk marketing now. It's the dirty word for some companies, but I love it personally. I do it every day. And I would love to know, how do you generate leads?
Okay. I think gone up and down around houses with this, as we all do. And I think basically not to spread yourself too thinly. Yeah. Find out where your audience is. That's not always easy to know, but I think I try and do a bit of a mix for real life networking. Yeah. Social media, helping and being helpful in groups and getting to know people. And sometimes even if it's industry, same industry, that it can lead to other non-industry related relationships and so on as well. So it's really important to have industry specific networking and outside of that as well. Get to some live events. And I get out every month and I go to a regular one that is just kind of a conglomerate of different businesses. Yeah. And social media, and just choose platforms that work for you. Yeah. And like you've done recently, sometimes you just need to test, see what's working, because the platforms always change. It's kind of being consistent really is key, and just doing different ones and having conversations.
For people listening or watching, I would definitely recommend going to live events, industry live events, etc. Are a very powerful way to. It's kind of like networking on steroids. I don't know if you've had the same experience, but I've never not won some jobs from going to an event. Therefore, every single event I've ever been to, I have found suppliers, and I've always won business as well. So I tend to focus more on events and, like you said, the industry networking areas as well. So for anyone, a lot of us are WordPress people, be sure to get down to your WordPress meetups as well. They're a great
definitely.
place. So
I think saying one other thing, sometimes your initial reaction might be to say no to something, to an opportunity. Actually, I would pause and maybe say how it feels when you say yes, because you never know where that takes you either.
Yeah. That's good advice. So, how do you measure success? It's a big question.
Yeah. For me, I don't think it's figures as in kind of a spreadsheet.
Good.
I think it's in terms of how I feel and the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing. And I think I lost sight of it. I think it's hard when you're starting out and you just seem to be putting all the hours in to make some traction and perhaps get some recurring revenue. Now I've got a bit of recurring revenue. I've been able to take a step back a little bit, put some boundaries in place, and have a bit more of a, because I find it hard to switch off. We'll come to that later, but it's I think being able to be around for family and kids, and if they've got stuff going on, that I can be there at school day and things like that, and just have that flexibility, and that's what I really want. But on the other hand, it does mean that I might work odd times that perhaps you wouldn't normally, but it's about really enjoying what you do, work and home, and that's what I've achieved.
I love there's been a consistent theme so far. We're only a few episodes into the series of Agency Life, and family has come up every single time, and I'm always astonished how we worry about the numbers, but when we're asked how do you really measure success, the natural response is time with the family. I have to keep reminding myself about that. Time with the family is the success. If I get a couple of hours with my family today, that's freaking awesome. I've had a good day. And if I've helped, and like you said, your mission, if I've helped someone avoid overwhelm today and I've spent time with my family, this has been an amazing day. Each day at a time. I'm with you.
Definitely. I mean,
obviously spoken like someone who's not a millionaire, so
there is that.
I make myself feel better saying that.
You've got to have bread and jam on the table.
We used to have that every Sunday. I hated it. So we were quite not very, we didn't have much money, so it was bread and jam. And I was talking to Paul Lacey just this morning. We had a chat on the phone. We were talking about how I had Gola trainers, which are now fashionable. Well, that's annoying, isn't it? Well, let's do some confession. This is confession time. It's just me and you and a few thousand listeners from around the world, so don't worry. I would love to know, in your agency, in your fledgling business of a year and a bit, with your chickens, sorry to keep referencing them because I'm pretty sure I just heard a couple. What is the biggest problem you have apart from being interrupted by chickens now and again?
Do you know it is the imposter syndrome? Can't get away from that. I know it's already been said, but and I think the thing is that actually putting it out there, and I did writing a blog about that because it kept coming up in lots of conversations in the WordPress groups. And I think when you tell people that you feel like that, everyone goes, oh, I do too. And actually it's okay. So you have to learn, you have to find a way to embrace it. And it's not always easy. And, you know, some weeks, I had a really bad week last week. But you find a way to pick yourself up and you kind of have conversations with people because that really helps.
Yeah.
And I think that the WordPress community is good for that. Having those one-to-ones and just jumping on a call with somebody is brilliant.
Yeah.
And even if you don't feel like it, you kind of have to push through sometimes and just actually ask for some help.
Yeah.
But yeah, you kind of feel a fraud and all those things. And actually, what's one of the podcasts I did with you before has had so much positive feedback because people have said, I felt like that as well. And it's made them realise that they're not on their own.
Absolutely.
So I think you just have to keep talking about that. It's really important. It's good for your mental health as well to get it out in the open and make you not feel that it's just you.
3 years into the podcast, I still cringe whenever I listen to myself and think.
Yeah, exactly. We are our own
what do people
worst,
think?
own worst critic, aren't we?
Absolutely. Well, let's talk about well-being. You mentioned switching off, and this is something I definitely struggle with, which is why I'm asking so many agency owners. I want to learn, and I'm sure everyone listening and watching wants to learn. So how do you personally switch off? And you did say you're struggling with that. So what have you been experimenting with, therefore, to try and switch off?
Yeah, well, basically, I got to the point, really, after a couple of years, I was not switching off at all. And it was, you know, my mood was grumpy and I didn't want to be interrupted and I needed to just, you know, I knew it wasn't good for me, but it was getting to the point where it was making me feel a little bit unhappy about everything. So I knew I had to do something. And also, I think having a bit of recurring income, small maybe, has made a big difference in that. I now go to, the first thing I did was I actually downloaded an app called Headspace, which is to practice a bit of mindfulness. And you could do it, you know, it tells you every day to do it and just have that detachment. And I just needed something physical to make me do it. I wasn't going to go and do it on my own. And then the second thing I've done in the last couple of weeks is join a yoga class. And really, it's not necessarily so much from the physical benefit, because I know we do sit a lot. My number one priority was actually for my mental well-being rather than physical. So, and I found an excellent class, and it's absolutely, it just helps you get rid of stuff and actually calms the mind down, because I think one of the issues that we have is that we can't switch off with our minds, and that really helps you let go. So I think you have to decide what it is you're going to do, and you have to stick to it. Like, for example, I've paid in advance for the next month's sessions. That will make me go. It's easy to go, I'm really busy. Can I not really afford to take an hour and a half off on a day in the week? Because my time's really constrained with school run and so on. I think, I can't do that. I can't spare that hour and a half. But actually, that hour and a half of investing in myself means that I can feel better for the rest of the week. So I benefit, and so does everyone else around me. So it might only be a very small amount of time, but you need to do it, and you just need to be strict with yourself. That's my advice. I'm being strict with myself.
I love it. No, I love it. And good news for you and for people watching and listening, in episode 152, which is definitely in the future from now, because I think this is probably episode 143. So in 9 episodes' time, I interviewed Yael. She's based in Israel, and she does a lot of yoga, and we actually talked for half of the episode all about yoga, Pilates, mindfulness, all sorts of techniques as well. So I've learned a lot from her, which has been awesome. So what I'll do, Imogen, is I'll pop that episode in the next week up into the Agency Trailblazer community as well, so you can get like an early listen, because she drops a whole load of good books as well, and people to follow that might be of interest to you, because I'm going the same route as you, is trying to work out what are the benefits of things like yoga and Pilates, because there is the physical, but mainly as well is the kind of the mental, the reset and everything. So
so you get it all in one bundle with yoga, and it doesn't have to be. It's not all about being bendy and kind of.
And it's not just for old people, because I'm sorry, but a lot of old people do it around here, because we're in an old village with a lot of old people in it. But actually, it's for everyone.
It's for everybody.
It's for everyone.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. Yeah, definitely recommend it. And I was always put off a bit with the mindfulness thing, and kind of, but I found something that an approach that's not fluffy, that suits me. And everyone needs to find their kind of what kind of that resonates with them, and go with that. So yeah.
When I was a young whippersnapper, it was running. I used to run marathons and stuff like that. But nowadays, I'm looking for something far less intensive.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I look forward to that episode. Anyway.
Brilliant. All right. Well, we're now coming into land. It's the last question. Is it the last question? We've asked. Oh, well, actually, we kind of got into health as well, didn't we? Because you talked about switching off. Yeah. Well, normally we would say, how do you stay healthy? I think you already covered that with the yoga, so as mindfulness and your physical well-being, etc. So let's go to the last question, which is: name one tool that has been essential to your success so far, and why?
Okay, you might get excited about this one.
I think I know what it is now.
Dubsado.
Oh, no, I didn't know what it was. Yes, Dubsado. Oh my gosh, tell us about that.
Yeah, Dubsado. I got off to a slow start with Dubsado, I have to be fair, and I've revisited it. I've been with them for quite some time now, and I wasn't using it to the max. So over the last few months, I've really been looking at that, and I've actually done a lot more stuff with it and more automation. And I think the biggest thing is time saving. So I do all my proposals in there.
Yeah.
I have anything I need the clients to sign. I can just get them to sign. Like, for example, I was doing some GDPR stuff, and it was just a document to say, this is what's been covered, sign, say you're happy, and it goes in there, and then it's in their folder, in their portal. And then lead forms now are all on the website, or links to the lead forms.
Yeah.
And people feedback that they are impressed with that kind of onboarding, those initial contacts, and having that responsiveness, and being able to send an email response when a lead comes through the system and saying, look forward to receiving the info and having a look through, and we'll be in touch. And I just love the whole thing.
Yeah.
But I think you do have to spend time getting to know it and how it works.
Yes.
But it's consistently been the thing that, because I obviously did my homework before the session today, and I was looking at what was really made a big difference consistently. There are a couple of other tools which are great, but I think that's made the most impact because it's been able to let me develop things like proposals and so on in there, and just save that time when I get one, because then I'm just reusing that and then tweaking it to that client's needs. So yeah, definitely Dubsado.
I wholeheartedly agree. It was actually you that helped encourage me to go for it, because I'd heard from Ariel. She had mentioned that she used Dubsado, and then I came to you and said, hey, have you heard of this? I see you're in the same group. And you're like, yeah, I've used it. It's great. So I tried it out, and for us as well. So we've not really done much on the automation, but the onboarding is phenomenal. Sending out proposals, allowing people to select from different packages so they can kind of tailor that proposal and then accept it and then get it paid there and then is also amazingly phenomenal. For the first time ever, we've used QuickBooks and we integrate with QuickBooks, and that's all fine, and our accountant's happy, they get everything. But because we can now do all of our invoicing and also track all of the payments really quickly and easily inside of Dubsado, for the first time, I'm actually getting a much clearer view on how our financials are doing, what's our pipeline looking like, what hasn't been paid, who do I need to chase, which is really, really good. And I would say anyone who's looking at it, it feels very beta.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, but they are about to launch a new look for it, so I'm pretty excited about that, and a bit apprehensive as well, because I kind of got used to the beta look. It is very beta look, and I agree with that. And I think if you can get past that, I think the functionality is really, really great. And I do all my recurring invoices on there as well, so for care plans, and people then have they paying it electronically. It just makes it so much easier. Use Stripe to facilitate the payments, and you've got that dashboard view with the financials, which at a glance, as you log in, you can see that. So I have upped my game with Dubsado in the last, and to be fair, it's been since you've been using it as well, because you kind of spur off other people to think, right, oh yeah, I could use it in this way, could use it in this way, but you do need to invest time to get it to work for you. That would be my one kind of caveat on that. I can't work out, though. I think I'm going to have to sign up for a new account so that I can do videos on it, because we've obviously got a lot of private information in ours, and I want to do videos on it. And I'm like, oh, I can't. This has got all of our client details on it, and I'd have to spend hours blurring stuff out. So we're probably going to go ahead and buy another account, put in some fake information so that we can actually show things going. So anyway, you're a legend. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you for the chickens, to keeping the noise to a minimum. We greatly appreciate that. Do you name them?
Yes.
Oh man, come on. What are the names? And then we'll let you go.
We have 7 at the moment.
Right.
We have Sage,
yeah,
and Onion.
Yeah.
We have Dazzle and Snowflake, who are bright white.
Yeah.
We have Speckle, who's a speckled one.
Yeah.
We have Cleopatra.
Nice.
Who's a lovely black one with them. Looks like Cleopatra. And we have Goldie.
Oh, I kind of like Baldy. That's a really good name.
No, Goldie.
Oh, I think you said Baldy. I was like, yeah, I know how that feels. All right. Well, finally then, how do people connect with you? And then we shall bid you adieu.
Okay. I am on the usual channels on social media, Facebook, Twitter. I'm on LinkedIn, and you can find me at umbrelladigitalmedia.co.uk.
Brilliant. And we will make sure we get all of those links in the notes as well.
Fantastic.
Imogen, thank you very much for your time, and have a great day.
And you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.